Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever this podcast may find you. It is I, as always, Gavin.
And I, Justin.
And we're remote again. But that is honestly because Easter is this Sunday, and while Justin, well, actually, no, let me rewind. While I don't have any obligations, Justin does. And so we are making do. That is part of the nice thing about our setup is we can do our shit remotely. So we talk about what cars our friends are buying. We start off actually about getting grumpy old men about
moisture.
Moisture. But about the insane snow that we've gotten and like how that's going to affect our state, how that's going to affect our driving. We pray to baby Jesus that we don't have any like crazy flooding in the canyons or mudslides or any of that. But let's just dive into it. Yeah, man, like my back fucking hurts because I didn't shovel snow all year because luckily I live in an apartment with a garage and the snow throughout the day hasn't been so crazy at my work where I have to like shovel a parking lot, and I don't work at my flower shop anymore. So I haven't had to take a break from delivering flowers to, shovel a parking lot. But last night broke my streak, and I got done with writing my bronze glycine combat sub GMT. That's a mouthful. Watch review. I got done writing last night, and I heard shovels out front, and this is probably at 9:45 in the evening. And I was like, I'll just pop my head out and just see what's going on. And I see two people shoveling. I'm like, yeah, I should, if they have an extra shovel, I'll join them or something. I'll help out somehow. And I go down and they had an extra shovel, and they were the most grateful fucking people ever. One of them actually invited me up to his apartment for a beer. So I was like, yeah, sure. Fuck it.
Nice. Hell yeah.
I'll have a beer. So, and I felt as I normally do when I shovel snow, pretty confident for the first 10 minutes or so, and then you just start to feel the burn, and then after probably 15 minutes of that, I started to feel it in my back, and I was like, okay, I'm really craving my bed right now, and I'm going to be definitely feeling this in the morning. So I've just had a knot in my back, just off of my spine to my right. Like my lower back, for just all day. Because, I work at a desk. I sit at a desk all day, and I either sit in a car, sit in a desk, sit at a desk at home, or I walk in between buildings that are neighborly buildings. So, yeah, but I do a lot of sitting. So, going from a lot of sitting to then shoveling, it's my back was like, dude, what are you doing?
See, I'm kind of spoiled because the weird thing is my driveway is really short, which is a pain in the ass 90% of the time. However, it is lovely for the amount of snow that I don't have to shovel. I think that might be the one time that it's an advantage.
Totally.
However,
yeah, you don't have a steep angled driveway, and
no.
I shoveled the driveway that goes into the garage from the street. Most of which had been done before, but I got under the ice that they didn't get. So where people had previously driven the car over, it was still warm enough under the ice that I was actually able to slide the blade under pretty easily. But so I started with that, and then I pretty much single-handedly cleared, and the people that are listening won't know exactly what I'm talking about, but you will because you've been here.
Yeah.
I cleared the drive-through driveway in front of the door to the apartment.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. And man, although I have that short driveway, have probably still done more shoveling than I ever have before, even when I lived at my parents' house, because I basically have to go places and shovel to work. For instance, at some of the dealerships I go to, if I get there, for instance, at 9 or 9:30 when they open at 9, they're still clearing snow, and so it's advantageous to me to help them clear enough snow to where I can at least start doing work. So I've done a ton of shoveling with small parking lots and things like that, just so I can even begin to work.
Yeah. You're from Utah when?
Exactly. Holy shit. And for those of you that don't exactly know, and which wouldn't be that
I'm
many
sure
in
they've
our
heard.
listeners.
I'm sure they've heard, or maybe in the future you've forgotten. We are in a record-breaking, all-time record-breaking winter as far
Yep.
as snowfall is concerned.
It is absolutely wild. In fact, our friend of the show, Carson, and I were talking today on he looked up the totals, and I think we have 4 resorts above the 800-inch snowpack now.
It's definitely at least Alta and Brighton.
Alta, Brighton, Snowbird, and Solitude. I think all 4 are.
Gotcha. So all the ones in the Cottonwoods.
Yeah, all the Cottonwoods. And so Snow Basin, which is up north by me, doesn't get as much, but there's 2 things that make Snow Basin interesting. Number one is since it faces east, it actually maintains more of its snowpack, so it has a deeper overall current level than the other 2, even though it gets a lot less snow.
Mm-hmm.
The crazy part...
What's the snowpack at Snow Basin right now?
Let me actually pull that up. I was going to pull it up.
It's got to be at least in the 200s.
Yes. So Snow Basin is at 240.
Yeah, and Alta Snowbird, I think, are in the low 2s, 220 or 215. I think.
Yeah, it's insane. And the Snow Basin, the craziest metric from that one is that they have now gotten 2.25 times more snow this year than the last 2 combined. So basically if you combine the last 2 years and then add another 20-ish% on top of that.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we've had shit winters for over a decade.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is Mother Nature's version of leveling it out or Mother Nature intervening in us not being able to control the water coming out of the Great Salt Lake. Which I am grateful for, Mother Nature intervening for that. I'm really curious to see what the water levels are going to do there. I mean, someone messaged me earlier saying, what'd she say? She just responded to my story saying, have you been seeing the canyons? The rivers are insane already. I've seen Bridal Veil Falls or Bridal Veil and Ogden River, and it's insane. Not in person, but lots of posts. It's flowing quickly, and I've never seen it that fast before.
Yeah, definitely concerning because we have a weird catch-22 because we have more snow and we have the potential over this next week to melt quicker than we did in 1983 when Salt Lake City became a river.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I could be totally off base, but I do feel that, if the warm weather that we're going to be getting in this next week is going to, if it hits hard and quick enough but doesn't sustain, we might be able to chip enough off of the top where we don't have a huge reserve later to then flood our city. Maybe.
Exactly.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, we could be experiencing floods on Wednesday when it's going to be, in the 60s still. Tuesday, it's going to hit 70 for sure.
Yeah.
Which will be great. I mean, we need it. We need the snow. I mean, you and I and car enthusiasts and car content creators need the snow up top to melt quickly.
Yes.
I mean, we are recording this podcast on April 5th. You'll be hearing it in a few days when it goes live on Monday morning. Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows? Exactly. The only saving grace might actually be the shit winters we've had the last couple years because the reservoirs have been very low. So that might help us by catching a good amount of it and helping to not risk flood as much.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see though, because the rivers that get to that point still have to not flood as well. So God knows. We'll see. This entire season, what I've been thinking of is Mother Nature just embodying the I don't remember the exact name of it, but the goofy meme, the "I'll fucking do it again," with just every storm that keeps coming.
Well, that's from Beavis and Butthead.
Well, yeah. That's just what's been in my mind every single storm we've gotten, because it's just been relentless.
Yeah, I was talking to a security guard last night, actually. He he was going to park in the McCune mansion next door and actually couldn't make it in his front-wheel drive all-seasoned Camry. But so he ended up parking on the opposite side of the street where you are not allowed to park. Actually, I gave him shit. I was like, "Excuse me, sir, you can't park there."
Nah.
And he laughed too. I was like, "Okay, cool." But he was saying that he heard on the radio that last night was lake effect.
I believe it was.
I mean, and that just makes me wonder, like, okay, are we going to be getting more of this? Is this the last of it? Because if, like, the lake has already gone up and we're getting lake effect, I mean, maybe we'll be getting rain. But if we get rain down in the valley, that still probably means snow up top.
Yeah.
If it's 50 down in the valley, then up top it's going to be approaching freezing.
Exactly. So, we might be done with snow down here, but the mountains maybe still have a few weeks left. Who knows? And that's what's wild. I was actually driving home last night from just a meeting that I had, and I was in the middle of that whole shit show and that storm, and this is probably the second or third time this season that I've driven through a storm that has probably made it or tied it into the top 10 craziest downpours of snow I've driven in.
I believe that. Yeah.
And, I mean, it was in the Saab, but thank God the Swedes do know how to make a car that does somewhat handle in snow and that I have snow tires, because I felt fine, but it was still like, oh boy, if anybody in here doesn't know what the fuck they're doing or tries to do this on all seasons, they're dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, that was a full coverage insurance day for sure.
Yes.
We will see what happens. I mean, hopefully we have some roads opening. We've already kind of made some preparations for roads not opening regardless, and go from there. I'm just flabbergasted at this point. The amount, the sheer lunacy of snow that we've gotten.
Okay, but did you see how clear the sky was today, though?
Okay, so today, starting off in the cloudy and snowy that was still going on, and then it just magically opening the heavens as the day went on was gorgeous. And it was lovely. After all the snow and everything, after around 11:30 noon is when it finally got truly sunny, and it was a lovely 43 to 45 degrees. Balmy in comparison.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
I was on the phone with Apple support because my work laptop is a shit box. Not really, but
yeah,
it has issues. And I was walking around with sleeves rolled up on my hoodie and jeans and just walking around just chilling. I was like, oh, this is so nice, and it's gonna get so much better. I'm just really anticipating this relief.
Yeah, oh yeah. I think everybody is. Even people that I know that are ski and mountain bums are like, okay,
we're done. We're
good.
Yep.
Let's slow down.
Yeah.
Because I actually, just as a final note on the snow thing, pulled up Snow Basin specifically that did this post today. Mm-hmm. Continuing the season's pattern, this storm has way over-delivered. We were expecting 3 inches and got 13.
There you go.
Yep, and that's how pretty much every other storm has been. In fact, I was thinking there has probably only been in this entire official winter season 1 week stretch that has not had a storm of some kind.
Yeah, I almost I don't know if I might wash my car tomorrow.
Don't do that. That'll generate another storm, damn it. Don't do it. We don't need any more. No, all the people that have been praying for moisture. Jesus Christ, you can stop.
Well, I do actually know that we're getting rain next week, so
I'm somewhat fine with rain.
I'm okay with rain,
as long as it's not more snow. That is my only request. Yeah,
and now I'm actually curious about when to swap over to snow to summer tires, because what if we just get caught with a rogue snowstorm in May or something?
That could. I mean, it's not out of the question, as crazy as that sounds. That's where it gets difficult. This is actually an interesting little discussion, because there's not really a right or wrong time because it just depends on a couple factors. I think there is if you have studs, I know there is a legal deadline where you do have to switch. I think it's the second week of April. They have a law. However,
there ought to be a law.
Exactly. They don't really police that law though, because they're gonna throw it at you if you're like driving on them in June, right? But not if you're like a week or two over after the season we've had.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Like if we're still getting stuff like through the third or fourth week of April, because we can't really predict that far out.
Yep.
And like just imagine being pulled over for that reason. Like, come on, man. Like,
right.
Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, I mean, this year it might not be. Don't change over until like the fourth week of April. I mean,
yeah.
I think that you'd be safe at that point.
Yeah, and I mean, for me personally, I kind of don't give a shit about these tires that I have on my car right now anymore because I won't be using them. Fingers crossed I financially make it happen because the more money I make, the more money I spend.
Yeah.
Funny how that works. Yeah, this is going to be the last spring season for me with my Integrales. So, and my last season on 17s in general. So, like, this is the last winter I have these tires. Like, if I chew through them, quicker than normal, or if they experience high heat, like, so be it. I have another set of tires that I can easily throw on and get me by, and, that will be objectively better when it gets warmer.
Yeah, and I think the kind of the thought I've always had with snow tires is once it gets consistently to 50, that's the cutoff point. Because once you start driving them, especially when it's over 50, is where you're really killing the wear, and they're not the best.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I tried telling my boss at the flower shop that, and she wouldn't believe me.
What, did she think that they were great all year round?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
the van always, in the 4 years that I worked there, never not had winter tires on it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They are certifiably tires. That doesn't mean they're good.
They are the most tires of all time.
Yes. there is much tire on this van.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, that's ultimate preparation - laziness. It's like, I'm prepared for next winter in June.
Well,
Sweet.
So her argument was that she was told by somebody in the industry that that specific class of vehicle was required to in the state of Utah to have winter tires on year round.
What?
Yeah. I don't believe that to be true.
Neither do I.
That was what I was told from my boss. I was like, you know what? Your name is on this check, and I kind of don't give a shit. So
and you're paying for the tires, not me. So.
Oh, and you're paying. Oh, yeah. If I was paying for the tires, I'd be like, no. I understand how all of this works, and we're definitely throwing on all seasons, even if they're cheap all seasons for the summertime.
Yeah, that's I can confirm that is a lie. Like, I used to work in the transportation and DOT sector. I guarantee you they're not required all year.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. Jeez, this has got me thinking about like one of the cars that I sold that I mentioned before, my Audi 200 wagon, like, and how much that used to slay in the snow because it had the dual lockers and everything, and like, like I still have my other Audis and they still do great, but like that tank in particular was pretty damn good with its 15-inch wheels. So it had nice thick tires, and a pearl white one actually sold on Bring a Trailer a few days ago for $21,000, which makes me kind of angry that I sold mine for $2,500.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
This is a car channel after all. Do we have car stuff to talk about?
It is indeed.
We might not be, Gen Zers, but we're not also that old. We don't need to be curmudgeonly all the time.
No, we can just be curmudgeonly occasionally.
Yeah.
So I do have a couple little car things that I know that are coming up. I know that one of our friends is going to be getting his car soon. I just don't know what it is, which is Coulter.
He's made. Has he made action yet?
Oh, it's not just made action.
Is he in possession of?
Not possession. So it is in transport, and I think scheduled in the next couple weeks.
Cool.
So we have no clue what it is. That's the thing. I know that our friend Carson, who's also Coulter's friend, I know that he knows. Me and you don't know, so I am definitely seriously curious as to what he actually ended up buying after his big car hunt.
Yeah. As the listeners may recall, oh geez, how long ago was this? Was this like 10 episodes ago?
Yeah, something like that. I think it was about like 3 months ago or so.
Yeah. So Coulter, if you're listening to this, maybe you should pull on through the next available podcast that we actually have in person, and tell us why.
Tell us why.
Yeah. I bet you it's going to be an Acura.
I think so too.
I don't think he got a Civic Type R.
I don't think so either. I think an Acura is also what I'm thinking. It kind of fits what he's had before. It kind of stays. It's not in line with what his regular brand is because he's had his Infiniti for so long, but it is still a mid-sized Japanese sedan because I don't think he would have gotten the Integra. I think he would have gotten the larger one. I don't remember what it is.
TLX?
Yes. Because I know that was one of the ones he went and test drove.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was asking me for recommendations on like tint and clear bra while trying to like not reveal the car. It was kind of funny.
Like, it is a mid-sized vehicle.
he almost slipped because he said as I was talking to him, he's said that the dealer could do it, and he almost mentioned the dealer name and like that. And
he
like,
almost
sucked it back
Tim
in.
Dolly or Jerry Seiner.
Yep. So he almost let it out, and I just said, "Well, that's funny. You almost blew it right there." However, the reality is, almost any independent shop, regardless of how high up the chain of dealers you go, is going to do a better job.
Well, yeah, and there would be dealers too, depending on who the dealer is, that would actually outsource the shit too.
Exactly. Yeah. About half of them outsource, the other half install. The outsourcing is definitely the better option. I've seen on surprisingly high-end vehicles, like the internal work not be that great.
It's funny because back in 2004, when my parents bought the 2005 Subaru Outback XT that I later inherited later when my mom got a new car, that had Clear Bra installed on it, which is, to my recollection, fairly early tech for Clear Bra. I don't know when Clear Bra was really a thing. I remember still when like leather bras were used on cars. My dad actually had some on his older Porsches.
Yep.
Which is kind of weird to think about. But that held on for a long, long time. And they got the car in 2004. I got the car in 2012. And by about 2016 or so, it started to yellow and like wanted to start coming up.
Yeah.
So that held on for a minute, and that was the brand Clear Bra.
Yeah, and that's the original Clear Bra is how they kind of brand themselves at this point, because there's a lot of other alternatives now.
Sure.
And it's changed a lot, because the funny thing is, I was actually really grateful that my Audi S6, my current one, had some Clear Bra on the headlights, because even though they're glass, the glass can still get pitted and shit, and they look brand fucking new, because when I got it, they looked really faded, and I found out it had a really old, basically crystallized Clear Bra on it, and I spent like an entire day scraping it off with a razor blade very carefully and cleaning it up, and they look brand new. Mm-hmm. But I know that the formula has changed quite a bit to where they don't have the tendency to yellow like that anymore on like our, God knows, whatever generation of tech it's on now.
Well, give it time. I mean, give it another 15 years, and I'm sure it will.
Something will happen. The sun does kill all eventually.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think I applaud Coulter for being smart enough to just upfront take it somewhere and just get it done.
Yeah. It's like when you buy a camera lens and you put the filter on it, same day kind of thing. Like, protect your investment ASAP before anything can get in there and get under and possibly fuck it up.
And I wish I would have had the money to do that at the time with the Stinger. I wanted to, but I just didn't have. The Stinger was the money. That was as far as I could stretch myself at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there was no way, but it is what it is. I'm genuinely curious to see whenever he gets it done, and also who does the work on the tint and Clear Bra, because he's had a couple different people that he's looked at. and see how good they actually do, because it's always intriguing to judge other people's work when I see so much of it.
Yeah, true.
So that's one. Another one is I'm hoping that our friend Carson still gets his car. He's had a Volvo V60 Polestar, the plug-in hybrid, on order for a while, and that's still been delayed for the second time to late July. And it just sucks. I still have to echo all the things we've ranted about before.
Yeah,
about
dealers suck, dude.
Yep, just straight up. I know we've trod this ground many times before, but I don't think we'll stop.
Just a couple.
Yeah, I don't think we'll completely stop treading it until it's a problem that's fixed, because clearly it benefits nobody except for the person that owns the dealership.
Yeah, when it comes to either markup or, I mean, it mostly comes down to markup, really. I mean, remind me, is Carson paying over?
No,
He's getting sticker.
he's getting sticker. Yes,
That's good. Oh,
Yes.
what car was it? Somebody announced recently that there was a car that just wasn't selling enough. Oh, was it the I think it's the new WRX. Like the sales numbers were like breaking records, but they were also selling their cars for like $4,000 under sticker.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
So like the cars are selling well, allegedly, but it's because it's like the one car, also the one performance car that like people are getting actual deals on and not paying over.
that's true. Yeah, I guess I guess there has to be a good thing with that thing, with how heinous it looks.
It looks ugly, but like I don't know. I mean, with the cladding on it, I actually wouldn't necessarily mind. It's just too bad that's still a sedan too.
Yeah.
Because if it was a hatch, I would be kind of down for like somebody buying one of those with the cladding and lifting it and throwing some method wheels and some knobby tires on it and then doing rally car shit. Then that would actually like be a recipe for success, in my humble opinion.
I think it could be, and that's the benefit of cladding. It very rarely, if ever, truly looks good, but it also does protect the car.
Excuse me, sir. Me and my '05 Outback XT are offended.
Okay, well, just be offended then. I mean, I have a Tacoma that has the cladding, and in a weird way, I actually prefer the cladding to the painted trim, because all that Toyota does is you have black plastic, or you
don't really have that much cladding, though.
It's not much. It's just the basic wheel wells. That's it.
Yeah, that's not much at all.
And I prefer that over the only other option that they offer on the Tacoma, which is the same trim, just smoothed out and painted. So like I'm like, just give me the black plastic, then I don't have to give a shit if it gets dinged.
But I mean, we all have now seen painted cladding versions of the new WRX, and it looks good.
It does. It does indeed. And I mean, I think it was last week or the week before, talked about, I saw one in stock form that I thought looked great, which was all black. It actually looked great all black because you couldn't see the trim.
Yeah, I mean, ugly cars look better when they're black because it hides the ugly.
Exactly.
I did say that kind of out of pocket towards the RS6 when it came out, because I actually wasn't a fan of the RS6's look when it came out, and I think that was a rare version for me. Normally, I'm going to kind of stroke my own ego here, but when a car drops, I and everyone else, like, we develop our own opinions, and mine stay pretty tried and true from the moment I see it online to even when I see it in person.
Yeah.
Like when the S550 Mustang dropped, I was like, yeah, that's a beautiful looking car. And I saw it in person. I was like, yeah, like this is a natural progression of what the Mustang should be. A lot of people gave it shit, saying it looked like a Honda Accord, which the roofline did strike a pretty uncanny resemblance to the Accord coupe at the time.
Yeah.
But like the M4, like that was ugly then, like when the new G80 came out 2 years ago, and guess what? It's still fucking ugly now.
It's still really ugly.
It won't ever be pretty. It just won't. I did see a photo taken by this guy I follow on Instagram, Craven, CRVN is his Insta handle, of like this really aggressive look to the front of an M4, and like the lighting was good enough, and like the photos were enhanced in a way that presented the car in its best possible light, both figurative and literal light.
Yeah.
And to me at least, as a car enthusiast and a photographer, that it didn't like the grill and the nose wasn't actually the thing that stood out to me first. I was like, that is just like the whole vibe of the photo is just aggressive.
Yeah.
But that's like the best possible compliment I've ever given an M4, like the new G80 M4.
True.
Or G82. I think the G80 is the M3. But whatever. They're both ugly. Yeah, so what were we talking about?
Well, we went from
we were talking about the WRX and how it's ugly.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's not great, but like there's a lot of ugly cars out there now where I'm just like, meh, whatever. It's not the worst offender. I think of the cars that people have called ugly, for me the Mustang Mach-E has really come around. I don't think it's a bad looking vehicle at all. Just don't call it a Mustang. Just call it a Mach-E. I don't care if you call it a Mach-E. But I don't think it's an ugly looking car.
I think it works for what it is. I'm in agreement with you. If it was just called something different, great. All power to it.
Yeah.
I did actually stumble across earlier today, and I just found the post. I don't know if you'll be able to see it if this group is closed or not, but I'll send it to you in Messenger regardless.
Just take a screenshot.
Mm-hmm. A really cool RS4 that is currently for sale. So a 2008 RS4 that has it's not factory obviously, but has a supercharger kit on it, and for $30,000, honestly, not bad considering what all is done to this.
What's the miles?
I actually didn't see that. He didn't show that very clearly. Higher miles, 161.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
It is.
But it's not like insane though. It's not in the 200s.
Yep, I am. Oh, that's why. Autocorrect be damned. I tried to type in RS4 to send this to you, and it typed in RA4, and so I got a bunch of RAV4 listings. A very different car experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am sending you this. But it allegedly makes 600 at the wheels with a dyno sheet to prove
allegedly.
it.
Okay. I mean, it's a gray RS4 with stock wheels.
Yeah, so it's fairly unassuming in pretty much every aspect.
Yeah,
but it would
Audi.
be... Yes, it's a very gray Audi. And the standard interior and stuff. But it would be very interesting to see, like, if you could get this for a little bit cheaper than this, because I do think, given the miles and a few other things, it is a little bit high, and the car's not the cleanest.
I think. I think that for 25 is not outrageous.
Yeah.
If you offer them 25. Oh, actually, fuck. If we're talking about things that actually might be interesting to people at home, not to say that this isn't, but I found, and I don't know if you saw this. I need to look up my posts in here. I found a black E39 M5. Oh, it's sold. Okay. A 2002 M5 here locally. Actually, it was in Kaysville.
I've seen that one.
It was black on a tan interior, standard wheels, stock car, I believe. Jet black with extended caramel leather interior. Black Alcantara headliner, caramel carpet and floor mats, blah, blah, blah. 165K miles, so that is high, kind of. But, like, if it's a clean and, like, good running M5 with that many miles on it, it's going to run for a while, probably. $19,000.
So what's funny is I saw that, I think it was probably the day he posted it, like about a week ago, and... It does look pretty good. I know I've seen that car just passing by because that's really close to me once or twice.
Yeah, the seats are knackered for sure, but like, okay, so what?
But the actual exterior of the car is actually pretty straight.
It's a clean car. I mean, I don't know if it actually has had any accidents or anything.
Yeah.
And like the outside is not what I would be stressed about, for a car like this. It's everything internal and deep within the bowels of the beast. But like it had like LCD headrests for the rear passengers, which was kind of neat. I can't. Was that a factory option back then?
I don't think so. I think it may have been one of those things that maybe it was in Europe, but not here, because they did, both BMW and Audi did do some pretty wild shit in the early 2000s.
But the size of the screens and like the screen to frame ratio of them don't look like something from 2002 and look like something from about 2007 or so.
And that's very likely.
That could have been a not quite period correct, but like OEM plus upgrade that happened a few years later or something. But like the seats are old and tired, even on like the headrests and stuff. Like you can tell, like this car's been around a minute. It might have been parked outside for a little while. But yeah, it's a cool looking car though. That would have been a great steal for $19K.
Yeah, $19K, given the values of those things currently, is a pretty good deal, especially if it's a runner. Like I was thinking about this, and that car kind of perfectly exemplifies it, where I kind of go with the principle of maintenance over mileage. So like if it has clearly been taken care of very well and treated well, even if it has been like actually tracked and used, that's probably going to hold more weight than a higher mileage number would. Or sometimes it's the reverse. If you've got a high mileage and especially no maintenance, then you're the worst of both worlds. But
that is the anti-BMW club.
Yeah, and then you have the third world, which is low mileage but no maintenance, and that can be just as bad. Because you have somebody that like is selling a car because like, 60,000 miles, it's got to be good. No, especially not if the person didn't do anything.
I bet you it's not at the 60,000 mile for that kind of car. I'm sure that's like at the 10,000 mile realm. You know, it's like the really, really low shit where it's like, okay, what actually has been done to this? But you know, there are also instances where cars have low miles but have been like really well cared for. My dad bought his TTS, his 2013 TTS in 2016, so not an old car at that point, but also not brand new. And that had the 30K service already done at 13,000 miles.
Yep.
And yeah, white paint, like that charcoal interior, baseball stitching on the seats, TTS, so you know, had the more power, the better gearbox, some other things, I suppose. But yeah, great car. And you know, shortly after, it got an integrated stage 1, just a reflash, and hasn't had any problems in the 8 years. Wait, how many years has it been?
You remember the year?
He bought in 2016, so
that would be
7 years.
7 years, yep.
In the 7 years he's had it.
Yeah, and that actually is a good example of like a lot of people don't realize that although most people drive a car enough that they base most of the services off of a mileage, but almost all of them also have a time.
Mm-hmm.
So 30K is probably 30K service or 2 years, whichever comes first. And that's the part that most people end up forgetting is that, oh yeah, it doesn't matter that I've only driven 500 miles on this. It's been a year. It needs an oil change regardless.
Yep.
Because oil, even just sitting there, does naturally like collect oxygen and contaminants and shit.
And degrades.
And degrades, yes. Especially if it just sits and doesn't do anything, can start to separate and bullshit.
Yeah, because the last thing you want is your oil oxidizing your engine.
Come on, that sounds great. That sounds fucking fantastic.
No dice.
No dice at
sir.
all. Nope. No, I mean, I just think people need to take better care of their cars. Side rant, because I work in cleaning and detailing and shit like that.
Yeah, you see the worst of it.
I do. And I see that the average is a lot lower than most people would think when it comes to like car cleanliness, and kind of makes me sad. I'm glad that people like come to people like me to get shit done eventually and don't just go, no. But then again, I worked with so this is a customer that's a company today that I hadn't heard from in a minute, and ended up getting called back. I found out the reason that I hadn't heard from them in a minute is because the owner took issue with paying somebody to clean a car and just told the manager of like their fleet, like, no, you should just be doing that yourself. You shouldn't ever be paying somebody to clean a car. My car's clean. Ironically, it's not. I've seen it. It's not. Your car's not clean, dude, because you take it to Quick Quack and vacuum it every once a month.
I mean, that might be better than a lot of other people's, but still.
It's still not great.
Yeah.
It does. There's kind of the weird bell curve where like if you're gonna be cleaning your car a lot, like truly doing what your car needs cleanliness wise to make it good and make it last well, you're going to put in a lot of time and money that you're never really going to recoup. However, it's going to keep that car so that when you do have to sell it, you're on the top of the heap, not the bottom. And
Right.
it's going to make you easier to sell, look better, slightly more value, a lot of stuff. But, I just makes me sad. I wish that more people would take better care of shit because I've seen so much stuff that people just don't even think about as bad. And anyways, sorry. Just makes me frustrated seeing it daily. But I'm glad that we both do our best to take care of our cars, both mechanically and otherwise, because we're in a sea of people that don't. And
Yep. I don't really have anything to add to this part of the conversation. So yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, I haven't washed my car in months because there really hasn't been a point in doing so. I mean, I need to, clear shit out of it, but it mostly just needs a wash. I was hoping, when I first saw the start of the warmer weather, I was like, oh, maybe I can wash my car. And then a few days passed, and then I saw a new weather update. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Just kidding. It's going to rain. So, but the rain is still good. We still we always need more water. We'll see how the flooding is going to go.
We might have to all turn into amphibious vehicles.
I wonder if we're going to see a return to what was in 2020, but instead of toilet paper, it's sandbags.
Yeah.
And all the Home Depots in the Salt Lake Valley are going to just run out of sandbags, and people will be flipping them for 5X.
And then some idiots will be buying them for 5X and making it worse.
What's the point? Yeah. I'm not worried about where I'm at because I live on a hillside.
Yeah.
So the water will be if there is any water on our street, it's going to be running down from us. The freeways aren't going to flood. That's literally impossible.
Yep.
I don't think West Valley is really going to have much of a problem. I mean, there are some rivers and shit that go through a golf course that's near us, but I don't see it being an actual problem.
Yeah.
You live next to a lake.
Yes.
And you live on a golf course, which is the low point. And in our text messages before, you said that was a good thing. I'm skeptical about that, but we'll see.
When I'm saying low point, I'm saying low point of my immediate neighborhood, not necessarily the low point of the area in general. So all of our houses built up a tiny bit higher. Hopefully will save us from doing anything. And I don't think there's a single house here that has a true basement. We're all daylight basements. So we're pretty high up. We'll see. Relatively speaking. Yeah, God knows. I'm only about a mile from the edge of the lake where there is a marked boundary where it can flood up to. Yeah, it is all going to be we'll see. Because, this Easter weekend's going to be damn near 70.
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it, too. We've gone from yesterday having a low of, I think it was 20, 23, 24.
Well, and snowing like crazy.
And snowing like crazy, to actually having legit spring weather in the span of a week. Welcome to Utah.
Welcome to Utah.
And again, I'm just like you said, I'm here for it as well, and I think it'll be super fun, but just concerned. Concerned in many ways. Actually, I had this thought with the canyon roads. Okay, even if it does warm up enough to melt a ton of shit, I wonder how many of them are going to be taken out from flooding, not necessarily from avalanches or otherwise.
You mean mudslides?
Potentially mudslides, or rivers breaking banks and taking out a bit of the road or things like that.
Well, I'm trying to think of what canyon that would happen. Logan Canyon, maybe? But there is a pretty good height from the river to the road, even in the lowest spot. Big Cottonwood, I don't see that flooding like that. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with that. Mill Creek is going to be fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Trying to think of where else would have serious flooding that would actually impede the road. Because like I feel like mudslides are going to happen probably everywhere. East Canyon doesn't really have that issue.
So I did think of one that we
Immigration, maybe?
I did think of one that we do occasionally frequent. Wolf Creek.
You think a creek is good? Probably not. Oh, wait, Wolf Creek. For some reason, when you said Wolf Creek, my brain put together Cascade. It's always a pretty good height from the road to the actual creek.
Yeah, I think there's only 2 or 3 spots where they come even close.
It would be down, on the river road. That's by where all the development is.
How ironic.
So maybe.
So maybe that one. It could be a few others. Like I have the crazy image of what happened to British Columbia last year with all the crazy flooding that they had, where that took out many of their like artery bridges and stuff.
Well, remember a couple of years ago in Germany?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like that shit was nuts.
Yeah, so that's my concern. I'm not really that concerned about even my house flooding necessarily. I think there's enough controls in place to where like we'll be okay, and my basement's not finished, so even if stuff does get in here, it's not really going to do any noteworthy damage. Everything's easily replaceable that it could possibly flood in any normal manner. Mm-hmm. I'm more concerned about when it comes to actual infrastructure on some of these canyons and whatnot, like bridges, for instance. So, like, yes, the bridge is way above the flood. It's not going to come over the bridge necessarily, but washing out supports is what caused all the crazy shit in British Columbia to collapse.
I mean, what canyons have bridges here?
They're mainly small ones where it'll like cross over the river slightly. They're not. It's less of a bridge and more of just like
where.
Let's see. I know I've seen a few of them.
I don't think there's any in Wolf Creek.
I don't think there's any in Wolf Creek. I think Wolf Creek is always on the north side of that river. And I might have to do some digging to try to remember. I know I've seen 1 or 2. It's not many, but just things like that are more what I would worry about, like actual infrastructure getting taken out rather than...
You know what probably will get flooded, though, is Monte Cristo.
Yeah, because that actually is pretty close to the river in question.
Well, that and just with how much snow gets up there in general, and how like that canyon doesn't really funnel as much, like between the peaks, like the top of the peaks and where the pavement is not really that high compared to say one of the cottonwoods.
Let's see. So actually, it's funny that you mentioned Monte Cristo. That was one of the ones I was thinking of. I just pulled it up on Google Maps. That one does cross over that river several times. So they're not actually like full-on bridges, but more just like a slight undulation where the river will go underneath because it's not a huge river.
Like an expansion joint, kind of.
Yep, exactly. So that's one I could definitely see getting washed out pretty easily, especially with its height and how quickly some of that snow could melt and how it all funnels into one location.
But, you know, this is a lot of speculation, too.
Oh, yeah.
We will have to see. I'm relieved. I don't want to say relieved. I'm grateful for the water that we've gotten for the rivers and for the Great Salt Lake, and to see, hopefully, Lake Powell comes back up a good amount. And, like, rivers like the Green and the San Juan and... Provo River and like all these other, water features that we have here in Utah. Hopefully the water comes up and it's not as depressing, and there's more growth from that. So I don't know.
And I think, the entire West has actually already raised, I think, 2 drought levels. We're still in drought, but we've actually gone up a couple levels because of this.
Yeah,
a couple levels towards good. That is, which is good to hear, because that also, I mean. I also hope this doesn't proceed like a big boom of growth of like vegetation and then a fire season, because that can happen as well. Because what I hope happens is we have a big growth of vegetation, but we're able to stay like moist enough through the summer that by the time we hit September, we have some amazing, even more amazing than usual, like fall colors.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know how that works if like. Because there have been some pretty dry seasons that have happened during the summer, and depending on like when the rain hits, And like when we filmed RS4 through Cascade was pretty fucking lit. And actually were the death cars, was that more vibrant? That seemed pretty vibrant when we were through there. And part of that also depends on timing too, of like what specific day through the whole, story arc of the foliage, it happens. It can change from day to day of how much that you see.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question, because we've had basically 2 opportunities, more or less, to drive through those fall colors like that. One was a couple pieces of the Audi film, but mainly RS4, and then the
what
second
else with
one.
The Audis?
I think if it wouldn't have been for a couple of the delays, I think we would have ended up with R8 on that day.
Well, we were supposed to end up with R8 and RS4, but that didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
I think it was only RS4 because that was the only time we went down south that far. We went through Suncrest, out by Draper, but that didn't really show off any fall leaves. We were just there because that was a safe enough area that we could get multi-lane roller shots to get all 5 cars in rollers, which, like, I'm even saying that now, like, makes me go, like, how the fuck did we do that? Like, how? How do we get 5 cars on camera at once?
Somehow we did it, and that was before we had any of this shit we do now.
True.
God.
We should do another 5-car shootout.
Huh? We're thinking about some of them. we have some on the docket of thought. No guarantees.
Yeah, we'll see.
I was just pulling up the death cars. Yeah, the Porsche day specifically in death cars was pretty lively when it came to the colors.
Well, and when we had both cars, when we were driving through, on the Saturday, was it a Saturday or Sunday?
I think both cars was Saturday.
I think it was Saturday because our round table was supposed to be for the next day, probably.
Yeah, but then it got yes, and then I think we ended up postponing it to the next weekend, but then we had to redo it again.
Yeah,
after that
because reasons.
Yes. So let's see. Car 1. I'm just going through our footage right now.
This is just fucking fascinating to people on the other end of this.
That's okay. There we go. Yeah, because I'm hoping that we get stuff like this again, where we're able to get those extremely beautiful shots with the fall colors and stuff. Because that time of year, I think, is awesome for shooting video and photo for cars, and the fall colors add so much vibrancy to that.
If you look at the rolling footage from Death Cars of mostly with the Porsche, like you and I, like every time we would play something back, like there's this one particular clip of the sun starting to get low behind the Porsche, but like the fall leaves were just like super lit up, and we got some color grading like fucking down on that car, and it like the car just popped and was like super crisp, and everything about it was like, God damn, I should have shot this in 4K so I could like print a photo out of this. Like it was epic. And the fall colors, let everything pop for sure. Unfortunately, everyone else in the state of Utah also agrees.
Yes, and I was also thinking in particular the drone footage too did amazing with that.
True, and I think that there's still some more work to be done on that too, because like there's a lot of red in those, but like trying to get some like yellows and like a little bit of green to pop with that like would be mint.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be.
There's a lot of reds and browns in that edit, but yeah.
Yes, that's where we live and learn, and fortunately,
it's not our fault, Not like we can pick and choose what colors that the trees are gonna be. That's playing God, and I don't have that. Our channel hasn't graduated to that level yet.
I wish. There'd be so many things that would make easier.
Oh my God. Just be God.
Just be YouTube God.
Yes. No, God. I think that's God status.
True. Yeah, because I don't even think Mr. Beast or any of the high-level YouTubers sadly have that option.
Not yet.
I did actually, as a final note, speaking of YouTube stuff, I kind of wanted to take just a brief second and thank everybody for subscribing and doing everything. I know that we're kind of a smaller channel and we don't put out that much content. We're trying to change that with this weekly stuff coming out in about a month.
I also tend to shit talk all the commenters that don't agree with me 100%. So I'll take the blame for that one.
But the reason that I wanted to to give a quick shout out of appreciation, besides all the obvious things, is that I found out something kind of interesting while looking up some YouTube statistics, which is that even us, with only our 3,000 some odd subscribers, are actually farther up the YouTube chain than those of us trying to make content might think, because you get in kind of a bubble where you feel like, oh, if we're not at X level, if we're not like at 100,000 subscribers, we're nobody.
We tend to compare ourselves to other people.
So even us, at our lowly level, we are over 3/4 of the way up like the theoretical subscriber rank when you're looking at like channels. So if you pull up like Social Blade, ignore all the stupid, yearly earnings and all that crap. That crap is so wildly inaccurate no matter who you're looking up. It doesn't matter. However, the thing Social Blade is nice for is looking up like actual factual numbers, such as like your subscriber rank. So we're almost in the top 10,000, which is kind of funny to me considering we only have 3,000 subscribers.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Because when the YouTube space is massive, but the amount of people that actually have a fairly large following is smaller than you would think.
Mm-hmm.
And this just kind of proved it. But that's really cool that we're climbing up, and we are here you go. Here, but then just a few lines down, it also humbles you and says, while we may be almost in the top 10,000 from total subscribers, we are 2,615th in the automotive rank. But either way, I am happy that we've gotten this far and happy at how much further we will go, and that is all thanks to the dozen people, the dirty dozen, that listen to this podcast and also watch our videos and shit like that. Like, I just appreciate you because we're able to do something really cool, even though it's not our full-time job, and do shit for the fun of it.
Yeah, and I think the thing that will keep you and I going for a long time is the fact that, while we do acknowledge the numbers, and I do take those numbers in and kind of analyze them and, not necessarily, abide by them 100% and let them dictate my life. I do look and I do analyze and I do, make some decisions based off of, feedback, numerical feedback, not just feedback from the actual audience members, but
yeah.
That's not why we do this. We didn't start a YouTube channel because we heard people make money on YouTube. I've had conversations with those kind of people, and like the second they say anything about that, it's like you're either not going to make a YouTube channel, or you're gonna do it for maybe 6 to 8 months, and you're gonna put out 10 videos, and you'll be like, why am I not making money? And some people see that as a business, and while some people can pull it off as a business, not everyone can. And you and I truly do it for the love of the game. I do it because I get to drive some other people's really fucking awesome cars, and I get to make my art with those cars. And you also get to drive other people's cars. Yeah. And get, hands-on experience with them. And, you like cleaning, so part of the gig, part of the deal when we organize cars for shoots is, they get free photos from me, and they get a free detail, interior and exterior, from Justin. So Justin gets to have an actual hands-on experience with all these cars. So I do want to, at this point now, before we, especially before we get into this big weekly content thing, which we did have to push back. I did want to mention that because of this crazy winter, we had to push back our weekly content because we were trying to have a backlog enough where we could post some like a video that I shot last year that didn't see the light of day until now. That's all done and ready and scheduled, and some videos that you and I shot over the winter. But, the actual good canyons aren't open yet, and so we needed to provide a buffer to actually maintain a weekly schedule. So in doing that, we had to push it back a month, and before all that starts, whatever it is, the first week of May, is it like the 3rd, I think? It's the 3rd, yeah. I do want to thank all the people, some may be listening, some may not be, that have lent us cars, whether the owners were there in person, which actually hasn't happened for a while, which is weird to say. Yeah. But all the owners have also just tossed us keys and said, let me know when you're done. I mean, the first time that happened, when it was not the very first time, but when it happened on a scale with Audis, that meant the absolute world to us. And I just wanted to take a second. Also, since you're being thankful, I figured I should also be thankful. And so, yeah, I'm grateful for all those owners. I'm grateful for our audience and for the people that are hopefully, enabling this crazy little dream of ours. So that's what I got to say.
No, and I agree. I think the fact that this is done for a passion, and we look at the numbers as a reference, but it's not what drives us, is what's going to keep us going. Because, just as you mentioned, if you're trying to shoot to do this for a living, you have to make a fairly large amount of sacrifices to
Oh my
do
God,
that.
yeah.
It's not easy. There are niches where you can blow up, but as I've mentioned, I think once per podcast, last two podcasts, it's probably more difficult than ever to keep a consistency on YouTube, even if you can have one viral hit. But one viral hit is not going to pay the bills.
Right.
And that's the problem.
Hit after hit after hit.
Yeah,
but the people that are also, in that algorithm train, like, the supercar vloggers or the folks like Doug DeMuro, who, of the auto journalists is, somehow able to always, hit that recommended. He was like one of the first dudes to hit it frequently, which is kind of wild. But yeah, those guys can make a living off of it, but not everyone else can. And, I enjoy having a job, and also this is my hobby, but it's not a hobby, because a hobby is something that you do on the side. This is kind of something I do on the side. This is more of a hobby for you, frankly, Justin, than it is for me, which is fine. You and I put in, I think a pretty equal amount of sacrifice, but a lot of it also, and I'm just being frank here, a lot of it also, comes on my plate of like, okay, what cars do we have to shoot? Okay, how do we get these cars exactly? Who do I have to, hit up and, strike a meeting with, and, all this other stuff. And, I'm also the one behind camera shooting most of these, which is just why I say something like that. If someone hears that, they might think like, Gavin, why are you being such a dick to Justin? But
no, like
this is the reality.
We're both well aware of the reality, and like I think you're right that we both have quote unquote equal parts, but we have very different parts.
And that was also by design. I didn't want to have you and me doing the same thing all the time. Like, you also, financially, like, you put up a financial commitment to get your server, and you put time into that too, ready for us to actually have a full-on edit rig that you also use for a bunch of other stuff. Yeah. You put down money for merch that no one bought. I'm going to keep on giving the audience shit for not buying our merch. I'm so fucking over it. I'm so tired of it. I think we need to have another promotional post.
I think so.
Because we're not getting together on Sunday. And you're working Saturday, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. I have to find a way to shoot these watch photos. Anyways, yeah. We need to have another, like, I think, merch shoot and promo post about it, because we need money for gas. God damn it.
We need to move the rest of it. Yeah. I mean, the fact that we sold about half of the monetary value of what I put into it, honestly, is around what I was expecting. Now I just want to move it. So if we have another shoot, no promises on exactly when or if, but maybe keep an eye out, and you'll see Gavin or I post that we're going to have a sale for the rest of this stuff to get it gone. And if you want some more high-quality shirts and hats and stickers and shit,
TBD on the sale. I'm not going to give any kind of, like, holiday attachment to it.
Nope.
If you're listening to this now and the sale hasn't happened yet, then it hasn't happened yet. But don't wait for the sale, because I'm not telling you when it is until it happens. I don't want to have Justin blow up our spot.
No, it'll happen when it happens. But
go on over if we're talking about this, this ethereal, what's another word for this abstract merch? Where could we find such things, Justin?
www.exhibitionofspeed.com.
Yes, sir. And what else can you find there?
You can find links to our articles. We have a few articles. Gavin has written some watch articles. We have the merch. We have links to our videos and stuff. We have a beautifully curated website. And also, by the way, some of these articles have Gavin's photos sprinkled through them.
They all do.
Great.
or your Saab article. Well, it'll have some of mine actually. I think
It'll have some of them. Yeah. It should have.
Are you gonna put my film photos in there?
I was thinking of it. Yep.
That'd be cool. You
Yeah.
should do that.
I was thinking of a good intermix because I think you're actually the third somewhat official person to shoot the Saab because I have.
Me?
You're the most official out of the group, if that
Thank
gives you any
you.
condolence.
Bitch.
I have all of my background photos of when I picked it up. But out of the actual people, Easton, my friend Easton has shot it. I don't remember his name. There's a dude up here that has a B7 wagon that shot it at one point. And they were okay photos. But then, again, out of that list, you're by far the most official person.
And then I came along. And then I came into your life.
So I think you've done the film shoot with it, and you did one other.
Have we only done 2 shoots with that car?
We have.
Because I took what was it? It was some really low. It was some really low ISO film stock that I shot with it, and then we did the first shoot that we did with it was on the Mormon Flats in the winter.
Mm-hmm. And that was like 2017, 16, 17. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
When it had more paint.
Well, we were gonna have another shoot with it, but then your cat caught fire.
Yes, and not cat as in kitty cat, but cat as in catalytic converter on the way up the hill.
People like to steal.
Yes. Yeah, so eventually that'll have an article tied with it as well. But
that'll go live on May 3rd when your video review of the car goes live.
Yep.
And I'm going to have an article on my car when my car goes live.
Mm-hmm. On the 10th.
Yes, sir.
So, but I think that's about it for today.
I think we've run out of things to say. So thank you all for listening. If you would like some merch, like Justin said, go to www.exhibitionofspeed.com. If you are somehow listening to this and don't know, we have a YouTube channel. Honestly, just Google Audi 4.2 V8 and we pop up.
It is quite literally the first result on videos.
Yeah, it's awesome. But thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.